Good morning. Hello from Tokyo, Japan. Just to catch you up to date here, about 17 hours ago, an earthquake, a major one, hit the Hokuriku region of Japan, largest city, Kanazawa, Noto Peninsula, Noto Hanto, a city called Wajima, which Kanai and I, my wife, had driven through a few years ago before the pandemic hit. A beautiful area, and our hearts and prayers really go out. A lot of people are praying during the New Year's holiday right now. Hatsumode, we're going there, and I'm sure that this is one thing that's in everybody's mind, so they're getting a lot of prayers. The second thing that I wanted to get you up to date is that I'm fine. My wife, Leo, my wife Kanai, my son Leo are fine. So I want to say thank you to the hundreds of people that have been sending messages to me asking me if I'm doing okay. There's a but in the title of this video, and I want you to stay tuned for the next couple of minutes, watch it to it, because I want to address the but part of this. Earthquakes happen here in Japan all the time, and it is really hard for you who don't live in this country to understand what it's all about. I made a video about this particular topic a few years ago. I went into a simulator. I was in a simulator here and was able to bring you in this episode what it feels like to be in some of the worst earthquakes in Japan. Here's the thumbnail for that episode. Definitely check it out if you want to learn more about the intensity scale, about what major earthquakes in Japan are like, and educate yourself on this topic before you come to Japan, because these earthquakes strike at any time, and being prepared for it certainly is an advantage. That's something that even to this day, I'm still learning about. We call it bosai, which is the disasters. And Japanese cities, Japanese municipalities around the country are well prepared for this. If there's a place where a major earthquake happens and people are going to be okay, it would be here in Japan. But the Noto Hanto region where this earthquake took place, there are a lot of old houses that are not up to earthquake standards. The last earthquake that happened in that region, and it is an area of Japan where earthquakes do happen. Niigata, for those of you that might remember, about 20 years ago, in fact 20 years ago, yeah, 21 years ago now, 2003 I believe, 2004, had a major earthquake that devastated the region that people are still talking about to this day. So what happened yesterday at around 4 p.m. is going to be something that we talk about for a very long time. Now, the but part of this, let me get into the but part of this, because I think it is quite important for everybody. And before we even start that, I want to again say thank you to the hundreds, if not thousands, of people on social media that have been commenting, Instagram, Facebook, that are just worried about me. And I feel like I'm family to a lot of people too that I've gotten to know, to meet over the years. And the genuine love and worry about our well-being really touched me. And I had to make this video as a response to that, because I simply cannot answer you in the way that I want to. So I hope this video is enough to show the appreciation for you worrying about me and my family here, and I'm sure the other Japan-based creators that are all over the country. The but is very easy to, it's very easy for me to explain, and I hope it's easy for you to understand as well. The country of Japan is quite large, all right? It's larger than many people think. Here's what Japan looks like to Texas. Texas is a pretty big place, okay? And this is one to California. Again, Japan's about the same size as California, maybe a little bit smaller, but it's got 4 times the amount of people. This is a map that somebody made to just show you the size of Japan in the USA. So when I see headlines from like CNN and Western news that shows you Japan all in red, like the entire country is impacted by the earthquake, I get a little bit upset about this, because it's making you panic. Everybody knows about Japan. Japan's an earthquake-prone country, but this is completely false information. They show you the epicenter of it, they show you the shock waves of it, and let me just show you why, and I'm picking on CNN because they should know better, but a lot of the other medias should probably do a much better job of explaining this, but they simply don't know, because they're not in countries where earthquakes happen. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a hard time, but I can understand why they just don't know. But they are definitely making this seem a lot worse, as though like Tokyo has sunk into the ocean And that has worried my family, my friends, and a lot of you. And in this episode, I want to kind of go over this so you don't worry too much. Worm writes in here, glad you're okay, much love. Thank you, Worm. I'm fine. I felt the earthquake. Let's start here. All right. I'm jet lagged out of my mind around all day, pretty much. We just got back from the United States on the 31st, 5 hours, 6 hours before New Year's. And the next day, around 4 p.m., the quake hit. We were taking a nap. Leo, Kanai, and me were all sleeping in her father's tatami room. I was taking like a short nap, and I was jolted out of it. I knew right away that it was a strong one, but not here. Again, you've seen I've been in a lot of earthquakes over the last 25 years here in Japan. I could tell it was a strong one because it was long. It was very long. It seemed to shake for, it seemed like 2 minutes. And we're in Tokyo, and I'm going to show you some graphs here to give you a better idea of Tokyo. But we felt it, but it was a swirling earthquake. There's earthquakes that go side to side. There's earthquakes that go up and down, like the one in Kobe, which is so devastating. Kobe was a short earthquake in 1996, but devastating because it was going up and down. The one in Tohoku, I believe, was more side to side in 2011. And this one was a swirling one, because I could feel the swirling of it. And those are the scariest ones, because it's like, oh, anything can happen in a swirling earthquake. You feel like you're going left, right, up and down, all over the place. Like a vortex, and that was very worrying to me. Right away I knew that this is going to be a Shindo 7 somewhere in Japan. So what is a Shindo 7 here? I made a chart here to show you. The Shindo is the Japan equivalency. This is the Great Tohoku earthquake of 2011. The intensity of the shaking, it has nothing to do with the magnitude, but the intensity of the shake. Shindo 7 knocks you down. You cannot stand up. You're tossed into the air. It is very, very strong. Everything is collapsing down upon you. It feels like your life is out of control. There's nothing you can do. You feel helpless in a Shindo 7, and even in a Shindo 6. You can feel that intensity. It is scary, folks, and you've never been in one, and I've been in one. It is very frightening. The 2011 one is probably actually an upper 5 or lower 6 in Tokyo where I was, but it was definitely, I can't even imagine a Shindo 7, to be honest with you. You feel like your life is over. You don't know what else you can do. The ground shakes. I remember feeling like I was on a bus with a Shindo 5. This isn't Tokyo. I was on the road, like right here. I had to sit down because the road was swaying like I was on a bus. Scary stuff. And that's the aftershock. That wasn't even the main quake, all right? So again, like a lot of people are praying for the people up in Wajima City, which is where this happened, because I haven't been through many strong ones over the life. I know what they're going through. It's not pretty, it's not good, and it's definitely, we're going to be hearing news about this for the rest of today, tomorrow, the weeks to come, the months, and they'll be talking about this one for years. But in Tokyo, let me go back to this. In Tokyo, we did not feel it. Now, Wajima City is where this hit here. This is a map of where it is. In proximity with Tokyo, it's an 8-hour drive, folks, to get there. So Tokyo is not close to this. I showed you how big Japan is. It's an 8-hour drive across a mountain chain to get there, all right? Wajima City, Noto Peninsula. This area is such a beautiful drive, but it's an old part of Japan. A lot of fishing villages. I had some of the best tempura that I've had in my life here. Again, this is about an hour and a half away from Kanazawa City driving. And this was the epicenter of the earthquake here. And again, Toyama is also close by. The tsunami warnings are up to 5 meters high. Let's say if a meter is about 3 feet, that's pretty high. And there's the proximity to Tokyo. I think it's important that you see this and understand, because what I'm going to show you next is I'm going to put this in perspective of why you shouldn't worry too much about me, but the people that are in Wajima here. So here's where the quake happened. The source of information that you should go to, which they have an English site, is the Japan Meteorological Association, or JMA. This is the site that your CNNs, your NBCs, your ABCs, CBSs, they're going to be going here for their official sources, and NHK will be going here. This is where the information comes from, the Japan Meteorological Association, jma.go.jp. After an earthquake, I always go here. This is the definitive source, so you make sure you're getting good information. Magnitude 7.6, which is a giant earthquake, and it happened, and you can see where the epicenter is, very shallow, scary, right at Wajima City. And this is why I'm really scared about the images and the stories and the aftermath of this area that's probably going to need some major help afterwards. You can see the colors are the intensities of the Shindo pattern, the shaking that we felt. All right, let me break this down for you now. Here's the next one. You can see the Shindo 7 where the X is. The deep red ones, it's violent shaking, folks. It's really the worst of the worst right there. You can see just the way that the land is structured, the way that the landscape is will also determine the shaking. And if it's a shallow one, it's going to be pretty impactful. You can see the Shindo 5s. Those are powerful quakes. Shindo 5 is nothing to joke about. 4s, and then you can see it goes into 3s, which are the typical earthquakes. All right. You can see as you get into the mountain change, the Minami Alps, the southern Japanese Alps, the shaking kind of goes away. Let me show you into Tokyo here. Right there. Tokyo didn't really get much of anything. When you see Shindo 2, that's just a little bit of a sway. So there was no impact in Tokyo at all other than a little bit of swaying. All right, so that's why I really appreciate it, but all of the people that are concerned about me, but if you look at the Meteorological Agency right away and not the cable news or any of the news networks, you'll understand a lot more about the impact of every earthquake that happens. And this is all information coming from the JMA site, okay? So I hope this can become a resource for you, and I hope this just debunks some of the stuff that I was seeing in the news, like Hello DW, which is the German news right here. DW, more earthquakes expected in Japan. Hello DW, this is Japan. There are earthquakes here every single day just about, somewhere in the country. It's like worrying people so much that it has no context when you write stuff like this. And I'm picking on all of these different places here. Here's CNN, multiple people did powerful Japan earthquake. They should say Hokuriku earthquake, but it's not. I don't think anybody knows where Hokuriku is. So when you say Japan, this worries my parents, it worries my friends, and it worries you. And I just showed you the data. We felt like almost nothing. I could feel the shaking and the swaying, but it wasn't a strong earthquake at all. We just know, okay, there's an earthquake. That's what we felt in Tokyo. And that's 8 hours away. They felt it a little bit in Osaka. Do you think they felt it in Hokkaido? No. They didn't really feel, maybe a little bit, I don't know. It's not something that the whole country is impacted by. Earthquakes, 99% of earthquakes are regional. They're just in that region right there. So let me show you some other headlines here. I mean, it's just like shocking here. All right, is this Canadian news? CNN, Japan earthquake 2024 live. Like the whole country has sunk into the city. It's sunk into the sea. To me, way beyond what the reality is, all right? And I don't know what is there a better way that the news can cover this? I'm not really sure. So maybe leave it in the comments below. Have they gone too far into the sensationalism, or is this just? I really want to hear from you, because personally, I'm not sure myself what is the right thing to do here. Like, what is happening in Japan? There are earthquakes here all the time, and I'm glad that they're kind of showing the map behind. Do you see that? That's at the tsunami warning. They don't really explain that here, but the lines, the colors are the tsunami warning, like the places that yesterday on the news we saw in Tokyo, the whole country did, how high the seas are going to be getting, and an announcement in English and in Japanese to evacuate to higher ground, and that this was not a drill, this was real. So after the 2011 tsunami and earthquake, there is an urgency to get people to higher ground right away. You just don't know how the tsunamis are going to react. It was a very shallow quake, but it's not just the initial earthquake that is scary, that can cause tsunamis, the aftershocks, and there are multiple aftershocks, also can cause tsunami. So it's after the main quake, you definitely want to stay above ground until the all clear is given. And this, I hope, might even save people's lives in the future, because you just don't know. As tourism increases here to Japan, you just don't know when a quake is going to happen. You might get a 5-second notification, like all the cell phones might start ringing like this, like on the trains. It's scary, and there's been a lot of false alarms, and it scares the... I know that sound from the 2011 earthquake. It scares the crap out of me, folks. When I hear that sound, my blood just, like this. Like it's just maybe the scariest sound that I've heard in my entire life. When I hear that noise, because I know you hear the sound, the warning, and there's nothing you can do about it. What do? Do you get underneath a table? You got maybe 5 seconds before you start to feel it. You don't know what to do unless you've had some kind of training. So I do hope that you do watch this video that I produced. It's now been several years now. And I think if you're coming to Japan, that this will be something that will help prepare you for typhoons, for earthquakes. And I go over this with the fire department on some of the things and tips that you can do to stay safe in an earthquake. What I learned was that Japanese are so used to earthquakes that they don't get worried about it at all. They don't worry about the earthquakes at all. They kind of will just sit there and keep eating the dinner when they feel it. But your first reaction, if you're feeling it for the first time, is probably to dive underneath the table, and that's not a wrong reaction. And I want to say to anybody that might do that, you're not doing it wrong. You probably are better to be safe than sorry, because having lived through the Great Tohoku earthquake era, like what happened and all the aftershocks afterwards, I know that your first reaction is probably seek safety, jump in the bathtub, jump underneath the table, get your helmet. After this earthquake happened, my wife and I went into our emergency kit, recharged all the batteries, made sure all the food in there is not expired. We're going to replenish that when the supermarkets open today. But this is not the way we wanted to start our New Year's. This is not a great way to start 2024. But, you know, if it happens in any other country, if it happened in India or Bangladesh or, you know, other places in Asia, it would be way worse than 13 people that have lost their lives as a result of this. And we saw some buildings collapse. We saw major fires last night on the news. And we're going to be seeing more images as the media goes around to those places. But in Japan, they're covering this quite well, just like all the other earthquakes that have happened. The Western media, a little bit too sensational. But I really don't know what else that they can do to, I don't know, to educate themselves. This is what the quake looked like from NHK when it hit in Ishikawa, which is the prefecture that Wajima is in. On the top left side, you can see a building collapse there. Again, if the buildings are not structurally sound, these quakes, in particular this one that was swirling, and that's what I felt in Tokyo, a swirling, they're going to go down. And yeah, a lot of them. And the scariest thing with these earthquakes isn't the shaking. The scariest thing with these earthquakes isn't the shaking. The scariest thing with the earthquakes are the fires that happen afterwards, because people will be cooking, people will be doing something, they'll be in their kitchens, and they'll be, the earthquake will start, collapse something from a ledge, and a fire will start. And then it's, because they're shaking all around, it's very hard to put it out unless you happen to have baking soda or a fire extinguisher nearby. Fires can spread very easily in any natural disaster. Most of the loss of lives will come from fires. And of course, there's the building collapses and things collapsing on top of you. We have helmets in our apartment. So we're semi-prepared for this, better than most people, having lived through so many earthquakes. But if you're visiting Japan, I can't imagine what the tourists in Kanazawa that are there right now, they're probably going to have a story to tell. And maybe on this platform on YouTube, we'll hear some people about this. Jeff Kennedy, my friend Jeff, thank you so much. We love you too, buddy. I appreciate you. Jeff also sent me a message on Instagram, reached out, and I really appreciate that. I told you I was going to go live today and discuss what had happened today from my point of view, and that's what the "but" in the title of this video is. It's just a little bit too sensationalized for my taste in the Western media. But again, like I just don't know any other way that the media could do this unless those reporters and those producers have lived through an earthquake. You just don't know how to do this job. So maybe it'll get better. Hire me. I don't want to work for that. I don't want to work for. Don't hire me. But you left your helmet home because you don't care, right? I'm in Tokyo. I just went over this. Are you kidding me? So the earthquake happened here on the other side of Japan. All right. We're not feeling any aftershocks here. Here's what Tokyo got. Almost very little shaking. We don't have any earthquakes here right now at the moment. But an earthquake can happen at any time. You don't wear a helmet all the time. You have the helmets nearby, so when it does hit or you get a warning, your first reaction should be to first of all, to take shelter, go get that emergency kit. Listen, we have a yellow book in our house this was sent to everybody in Tokyo, and everybody in Japan has a disaster plan book. This is an amazing thing about Japan. This disaster plan book tells you where to go if you have an earthquake. It tells you what to do, where to go, who to contact, how to wait for people. And if you don't know what to do, which is perfectly fine if you're a visitor here, wait for the people around you. In particular, other Japanese will help you and guide you. This is the time when we all become everybody's brothers and sisters. You don't think about anything else but helping the people around you and making sure that you're safe and the people around you are safe. You will be guided to disaster centers for safety with everybody else. Japan is the one country that prepares for this, that is ready for this. Hotels have plans in the hotels to let you know where to go. This is something perhaps you could ask about when you check into your hotel. If you know you're going into an earthquake-prone country, a little bit of research will help. Again, I made a video on this. So, like again, I made a video on this a few years ago. I think it has 1.8 million views. I'm happy about that. But I think, like, if it had 10 million and everybody got a chance to learn from it, that would be even better. The video was made to help you understand how to survive these things. Yeah. Any questions here before we end the live stream? Again, I wanted to keep this short. This is a live stream. It's not an edited video. I speak from the heart here. I do make mistakes from time to time, and I appreciate everybody here that's been worried about my well-being. Again, I've been doing this job YouTubing now for 11 years here in Japan, 25 years spent here, and it really does, I really did make a lot of friends with a lot of people from around the world in this community, and I did receive your messages. Let's see here. Who are you? What is Thanks for clarifying some stuff. You're very welcome, Viper of Mino. How about aftershocks from where you are standing? Tokyo has not received any aftershocks. We don't, again, we're very far away, and this is the thing, like, I want you to understand the size of Japan. It's not Rhode Island, but it's pretty big, and most of the earthquakes are regionalized, meaning they're very confined to that area. You might feel it quite far away. A magnitude 7 or a Shindo 7 is quite powerful, so you're probably going to feel that several hundred meters away, but it's only going to impact a small area, like really impact a small area, right? The Shinkansens and the trains, usually the country, the regional areas will shut down and they'll do an integrity check to make sure that the lines are still working. The utilities go out and they start to check all of the lines. The gas company goes out to make sure that everything is okay. There's plans in place for all of this. But you can see here, Noto Hanto, which is on the Sea of Japan side, had some major earthquakes, but you can see the color of the intensity. The yellows, the deep reds, the cherry reds, very strong earthquake in this region. The peninsula. Kanazawa had a Shindo 5, which is pretty strong. So again, those tourists in Kanazawa are probably going to have a story to tell for today. But if you look at the Tokyo side, we've got blues, light blues, barely felt it, just a light earthquake, not anything that is unusual here. Okay, so I hope that this clarifies it for you. Cobra Bebop wanted to say Happy New Year. I know this is not the way we wanted to start it. Happy New Year to you, Cobra Bebop. I do hope that things get a little bit better from this, a lot better. Thanks from Texas. Again, there you go. There's the size of Japan to Texas. just to point that out there. And the intensity scale for the whole country, very regional. You can see here, the Sea of Japan side felt it. They're getting a lot of aftershocks in this region. We're not feeling aftershocks on the other side. All right. When the Great Tohoku earthquake happened in 2011, we had aftershocks in Tokyo that were quite powerful. It's like Shindo 3 and Shindo 4 very often. And it felt like I was on a boat. I actually, in 2011, I was here for that earthquake, and I after about 5 days of it, I got on a Shinkansen, which we're running again, and went down to Osaka to visit friends there because I was feeling seasick because my building kept on swaying. I kept looking out of the window and I was just feeling seasick. I didn't feel, and I was just scared because we didn't know if, is Tokyo going to get a big earthquake? You have a lot of uncertainty about stuff after one of these earthquakes hit. Is it going to come to Tokyo? Are we safe here? We were worried about what was happening with the TEPCO nuclear reactor at the time. A lot of people were telling me to evacuate on Facebook. A lot of the Europeans got free flights back home, the French, the Belgians. I remember the US wouldn't give free flights. We had to pay $3,000 if we wanted to get on an emergency flight via Taiwan, 24 hours to go back home, apparently, if I remember correctly. We called the Gaikokujin, the foreigners that left Japan after the earthquake, we called them Flyjin because they flew away and, you know, a play off of Gaijin. And I didn't want to be one of those people, so I stayed. I was here about a month later when you were able to get into those regions with a buddy of mine, driving up there and volunteering to help dig mud out a couple of months later, until even today they need help up there in Tohoku. And I'll be actually, next week, I'm going up to Minami Soma, which is where the Tohoku Museum is, and we're bringing you to that. So I hope that this will give you even more insight into earthquakes. I really appreciate the questions here. We have a lot of people in the chat. Microphone okay? A lot of people wishing me Happy New Year. I appreciate it, guys. I saw the ANA, All Nippon Airlines, had a message for everybody saying they apologized for the service disruptions for the Hokuriku region. The airport in Kanazawa has some disruptions, so flying into the region. I'm sure the Shinkansen might be down, or they'll be doing some checks this morning. It might be fine now, but I'm sure after the earthquake yesterday, it's understandable that there'll be some disruptions. And anyways, with all the aftershocks going on in the area, it's probably not a great time to be in Kanazawa. I'm laughing, not out of humor, but as somebody who's understanding and very uncomfortable with this. It's a tough one. We in Tokyo are fine. And again, for those that are just joining us, I appreciate the prayers and everybody asking if I'm okay. We're okay in Tokyo. There's nothing, these buildings here around me, they're all built to withstand pretty strong earthquakes. We did not feel much of anything, but I did feel the quake here in Tokyo, and I felt that it was a swirling earthquake, and I knew that it was a very powerful one right away. We turned on NHK, we saw the tsunami warnings, we knew that the people in Noto Hanto, Noto Peninsula are waking up to a really tough situation right now. And the prayers, if you're going to pray, not for us in Tokyo, please, specifically to Ishikawa Prefecture, Toyama Prefecture, and Wajima City in particular, because they're going to definitely need it. This region, and you know, if you are a tourist here to Japan, you want to support Japan, maybe go up to Wajima in a year or something, show them some love, go back and say, you know, you went through a heck of a time, but we're here to help you rebuild, help you, support you. That's probably the best way to do it. Noto Hanto is such a beautiful region of Hokuriku, of Ishikawa Prefecture. Again, about 90 minutes away from Kanazawa, a city that I really love as well. There's Toyama City. So this is where that earthquake happened. No update on Sado. I saw that. Again, like I want to say thank you. I've been receiving so many comments. Hey John, are you and your family okay? We heard about the quakes in Japan. Also, I know you might have received a lot of messages from your fans. I'm just another concerned fan. I really, really appreciate it. I'm fine. I received a lot of messages like this. But the but in the title, just to reiterate for those that are joining us, the redness of the cable news networks coverage makes you think that the entire country of Japan fell into the ocean. And I just want to say that it's a very regional earthquake that impacted Noto Hanto, Toyama, Ishikawa, a little bit of Fukui, maybe some parts of Niigata, Nagano, this area of Hokuriku, Kyoto, Hyogo Prefecture on the Sea of Japan side. There was some tsunamis, a lot of warnings. They haven't had anything like this in a long time in this region. There's going to be a lot of rebuilding that's going to be going on, but it's very limited to just that region. Tokyo is fine. Osaka, Kyoto is fine. So although the sensational list of the news is worrying a lot of people, and I'm getting a lot of messages for it, I'm hoping that this live stream educates you that that's not exactly the case. Like it looks like Japan has fallen off of the ocean, that the Japan tsunami hits after a series of if you just read that, it scares the crud out of you, doesn't it? But this isn't the case. It's a really bad earthquake, but it's very regional in nature, and over the next couple of hours and over the next couple of days and weeks, we're going to be hearing more and more about this. So the initial reaction, I know from a lot of you, is to be worried about any of your friends in Japan. Unless they're in this region, they're going to be fine. All right. If they're in this region, the Noto Peninsula or Kanazawa, give them a call. My mom called and was, I couldn't take the call right away. I felt really bad about it, and I sent her a message, we're okay. I didn't even think to send a message to confirm that we're okay, because I didn't know that the news would worry her that much, because we didn't feel much of anything here in Tokyo. Will it be safe to go to Kanazawa in the end of January? Yes, it'll be fine. Kanazawa had a Shindo 5, so again, like, wait until we hear more. But I can't imagine. Kanazawa is pretty, it's got a lot of old buildings, but it's pretty, they've gone through earthquakes before. So again, like, I think it's not going to be an issue to visit Kanazawa even now. And the Shinkansen should be up and running. This was quite a ways away from there, but I'm sure they're going to do a check of the tracks. And if the Shinkansens are going in and out, then it's fine to go. Most of those hotels are new in Kanazawa anyways. Shinkansen Station, I think, was finished in 2014. And a lot of those hotels came up as a result afterwards. And Kanazawa started to boom as a tourist attraction just in the last 10 years. And so a lot of the tourism infrastructure is fairly new in Kanazawa. So, should be fine. Let's see here, CN has just been bought there, a profit. I'm not sure what that means. Shindo 5 is not uncommon in Japan. Exactly right, Saya. Shindo 5, you know it's an earthquake. Shindo 3, you feel something. Shindo 2, which is what we felt here, it's not much. So we're fine in Tokyo. You don't have to worry about any of us here. Tohoku, there's an ambulance going by here. Tohoku. Japan is ready for this kind of stuff. I appreciate the questions here. Let's see some of the news. What are some of the other ones here? Video shows moment earthquake struck Japan on New Year's Day. Yeah, you know, I don't know any other way that the media could do it, but in Japan we know the regions, and we know that earthquakes are regional. The whole country was not struck by an earthquake. One region of Japan was struck by an earthquake. Again, I really hope that this eases the worry of the viewers that care deeply about me and my family, and we're okay. Yeah. Wajima Shindo 7, yeah. Shindo 7 is the top of the intensity scale. You can see right there. This is the Great Tohoku earthquake of 2011, to give you some perspective. And this is what happened at the Noto Hanto, at Wajima City just 17 hours ago. It was a pretty strong one there. So we're gonna have a lot of news coming over the next couple of days, the next couple of hours. We'll be watching the news today. A lot of prayers are being said as Japanese go to the shrine for their Shogatsu Hatsumode, which is the first prayer of the new year. They're getting a lot of prayers. This isn't something that anybody wanted to happen or could have predicted that to happen here on the first day of the year, but it happens. Japan is a country prone to earthquakes all the time, and as a tourist, I'm not just saying it because it's one of my videos. I made this video because I know that this is something that if you're coming to Japan, you really should study how the earthquakes work. I mean, how the prevention works, how being prepared for earthquakes works. Please just check out this video, not just because it's my video, but because I want you to be safe here. There's the thumbnail for the video. It says Japan's largest earthquakes. And I talk with the fire department, and I go into the earthquake simulation center to show you how these earthquakes, what they feel like. And the best way to understand is to see it, to feel it, and then describe it right after it. And you can see my face is just scared out of my mind, remembering the earthquake that I lived through back in 2011. Yeah. So, this isn't a live stream I wanted to do today, but I'll be back again tomorrow with another live stream. I'm going to go and visit with family so that this is my wife's family's Japanese, so we'll have a party today. Not as spirited as in the past. Usually in Japan we do much of nothing. We just sit there, watch TV, or just talk. We'll eat osechi ryori and celebrate the way we do in Japan. But again, everybody in the entire country, you could turn on the TV, you can see it in people's faces. Everybody's worried about the people in Wajima and Ishikawa Prefecture, what has happened in Hokuriku region. And I'll give you updates on Instagram, Facebook, and all the social medias. And again, if there's developments, if there's ways that you guys want to donate, I'll give you, again, official places where you can do that. The Japan Red Cross is the first place I think that is you could donate to, but there'll be some local places as well. And I'm sure to go back to Ishikawa to do another video in light of this. I'll be in Minami Soma next week, which is where the Great Tohoku earthquake happened on March 11, 2011, to do a live stream at the museum there. And I'll be talking with some students as well. And I'll bring it. I plan to do 2 or 3 live streams in Minami Soma. It's just a place that I went to when I volunteered in 2011. A lot of synergy there. I used to live in Iwaki City, which was deeply impacted by that Great Tohoku earthquake over 10 years ago now, and it's still a lot of tough situations. It's still a tough situation even to this day. And as somebody who does YouTube for a living, I like to shine a light on places where I think definitely need it, and this is definitely a place that needs it. Minami Soma, a place that's dear to my heart. So it's like my second hometown, Fukushima Prefecture. Haven't lived there, so yeah. All right, thanks everybody for wishing me well and for the messages. I'm fine. I'll be back again tomorrow with another live stream. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll keep you up to date. Bye bye. Mata ne.